Hello, children. Are you ready for some cutting up and kikiing?
Are you ready for a gay old time?
Well, I hope you are, because now it's time for Hey Qween with your host,
Jonny McGovern.
Hey Qween, it's just a good old-fashioned kiki. Hey Qween, we're cutting up with Jonny. Hey, 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 hey Qween.
Hello, my jolly little Johnny Cakes, and welcome to another cute as a button episode of Hey Qween. With me, your host, Jonny McGovern. We have a legend in the house today, honey. A true pioneer, kids. She has the great honor and distinction to be one of the original Ru girls. Yes, that's right, for the first ever season of RuPaul's Drag Race, and a flawless diva herself. Today we have Victoria "PORKCHOP" Parker in the house. But before we bring her out, I gotta talk about my favorite pioneer. Never one to go home first. She's a triple threat. She can sing, she can act, and she can gag. She's the honey butter on my cornbread. It's Miss Lady Red Couture! And a surprise guest, Miss Nina Nina. Girl, she's on Hey Qween Brown.
Hey, Queen.
Okay, right. Look at you.
Look at you, honey.
Well,
Your mama's highlighted.
well, yeah.
I mean, seeing you guys over there, it was like, Lady Red, you were like, a wonderful businesswoman, a wealthy businesswoman, and then her secret soul behind her. Nina, we are so excited to have you swing by the studio real quick.
I mean, in between grinder dates, I can make time.
Yeah, exactly. I'm glad that you can make the time.
Thank you. I know I'm blessed to be here, and I thank y'all for having me.
Well,
I really
of
do.
course. Now, what have you been doing since you've been here in LA? Just filming, doing shows? What's been going on?
I have been a busy bitch. Like, you know, it's hard getting used to like these shows every night. Because I like good skincare, and this makeup is getting my skin together, honey.
I bet.
I always wonder how Dax had good skin. She has no bookings.
It's so early,
I'm playing. No, but
Point taken.
no, but it's been hard. But the more I do it, the more I get used to it.
Right, because so now are you on the road like 5 to 6, 7 days a week, or what's going on?
It's getting there. It's getting there. I have some tours coming up, and with me and James Mansfield, we're going to UK. I love James.
Oh, yeah.
Valentina, we're going to Sydney and stuff.
Ooh.
And then there's like a 2-week tour somewhere. Girl, the calendar is so full. I don't even know where I'm going. Jason just calls me and says, bitch, you're going there, and I pack the bags and I go.
Well, there you go, honey.
Girl.
It sounds good.
Honey, she's finally making a little coin, honey.
Yes, get that
A
coin
little
together,
coin.
honey.
Okay, coincides, honey. So am I allowed to talk about her, you know, in the next season to come?
Yes, please do.
Okay, honey, can we please get this prostitute on season 10?
Agreed, yes.
Because I am tired of going on YouTube. Lady Red. Okay, y'all, get her on there, bitch. I will get the RuPaul. I'll give you head, bitch. Put her on the show. Girl.
I don't think you could ask for a better endorsement than that.
Okay, I'm with it. Let's go. Hey.
And how is your head?
Meet me outside.
Okay. That was not the answer that I thought we would get. But it is. Well, Nina, we are very excited to be able to have you swing by. We can't wait till you can come for your own special Hey Qween.
I know.
And we can spill all the motherfucking tea, play look at her, do all the crazy stuff.
Yes.
But in the meantime, we know you have a million things to do. Thank you, Nina Bonina Brown.
As I walk away, please get the body.
Get that body. Get that body. Work that body, mama. Work that body. Well, Lady Red, we don't even need to say anything.
Right.
We got it.
I'm so excited.
What a delight. Well, from season 9 to season 1, we have the glamorous, legendary Victoria "PORKCHOP" Parker right after this very gay break. Yay!
Hey Qween. Queen's English.
Work boots back. I'm spilling the tea. It's gonna be hot, hot, hot.
It's Hey Qween Hot Tea, the show where we sip steaming hot celebrity lies and throw Hollywood shade. I'm your host, Mr. Jonny McGovern, with my favorite hilarious people, Julie Goldman, Lady Red Couture, beautiful Brandy Howard. Oh God, it's so hot I don't want to touch it, but I just can't resist. Real Housewives, real plastic surgery. Richard Simmons transitions.
She looks like Kelly Osbourne.
Trixie Mattel. Manila Luzon. Yes. Brandy's bad news boyfriend is Callum Best.
Obviously, he's good at what he does because he's fucked the best of the best.
Kylie, Chloe, and Kim have not gotten near a white dick since junior high.
Release the Kraken!
I cannot deal with that at all. I will go crazy. It's making me crazy right now, and now I'm insane.
Oh, but if you want the tea, honey, the total tea, girl. No O's, honey, the tea.
Hey Qween. Fake an orgasm. Cancellation for our band leader today. So once again, I'm forcing my number one diva to do double duty because I want her to play pretend piano. And I don't want you to see that she's just hitting the table. Okay. All right, now we're really back. I just had to explain that to y'all. All right, our guest was from the first season of RuPaul's Drag Race, but she's so much more than that. She's a diva. She's a legend. She's here today, Victoria Porkchop Parker. I'm so glad to get you, Miss Porkchop.
Thank you. It's wonderful to be here with you.
How is everything going, honey?
Oh, it's good. I just came back from a 10-city tour with lots of RuPaul queens that was called the Tour for the Cure.
Oh, yeah.
The Tour for the Cure. And we traveled from Orlando, Florida to Ann Arbor, Michigan. We started in Orlando, went to Tampa, Fort Lauderdale, North Carolina, Tennessee. We ended up everywhere, it seems like.
Wow, that seems like a great big show. Now, who was on that with you?
Oh my gosh, it was myself, Sharon Needles, Pandora Box, Jinx Monsoon, Manila Luzon, Ivy Winters.
Wow.
Several people. There was even some local queens from the promoter's hometown, one who was named Mrs. Carter and Paris Brooks. They were local girls who traveled with us and gave us some buffer time in the show. They were fabulous. We had a great time on the tour. It was wonderful.
And who was a bitch? Who was smelly?
Everybody was a bitch. We have diva moments. Everyone's allowed their own diva moment.
Right.
Everyone's allowed their own night to be a diva and have a fit and explode. And all of us had that experience because when you're on the road for 10 days, you get a little fed up. So all of us had our own moments, but we knew that going into it. We all had a meeting and said, okay, this is how it's going to work. Everyone's going to be diva. Everyone's going to explode. When you're going to have that night, let us all know so we'll know it's your night. So we did. So it kind of worked out well that way.
That is good. Now, have you ever gotten to spend time? Was that the first time you spent time with those particular girls?
Yes, several of them. I've worked with almost everyone or met everyone who's been on Drag Race. I haven't met all of the season 9 girls yet, but that was the first time I'd had an experience to travel with them for so long, especially with people from different seasons. I had not spent a lot of time with Sharon, and I got to spend 10 days with Sharon. That was a great experience, actually. Everyone's like, you're going to be scared of Sharon. She's going to scare you to death. Loved her.
But she made you put your drugs up your butt? Her drugs up your butt?
You would think so. You would think so. Now, she did travel with a Jim Beam bottle.
Good.
No,
like a rock star should.
Exactly. She is a rock star, but she is the most professional person.
Wow.
When we got to each night when we got to the venue, she was the first one to want to get ready. She was the first one to want to greet her fans. She was the first one to want to go on for her sound check. She was very, very professional. That's what I noticed most about her, was how professional she was and how much she enjoyed doing what she's doing and meeting people and getting to know the fans. She really enjoys being America's Next Drag Race superstar.
Yeah, honey. Now, you saw Miss Nina Bonita Brown was out here earlier.
Yes.
What kind of advice would you give to someone like Nina, who has told me previously that she's having a hard time enjoying the success or the attention right now? What kind of advice can you give as someone who's been through the process on the good and the bad sides and seen it through, another, 9 years?
Yes, it's been a long time since season 1.
And here, and you're still,
And I'm
people
still
know you. You've just been name-checked in a famous rap song by Miss RuPaul and the girls.
Right. Well, in her case, the show is so much popular now than it was in season 1. Season 1 was kind of, it was the testing season.
Yeah.
We were the test objects, really.
You were.
And being the first one eliminated, it turned out wonderful for me because everyone remembers Pork Chop. If I'd have went home third, no one would know who I was.
That's true.
So it worked out great for me. But in her case, take your time. This is going to be a long experience. You're right in the beginning stages of it. I don't know how old she is. She's, I'm sure, no older than 30. She's got a lot of life, a lot of entertainment left. Enjoy it. Take your time right now. Get through this process of the show. What's going on right now is wonderful. She's probably booked 2 or 3 times a day, or people wanting her 2 or 3 times a day. Enjoy it. Take it in. Process it. Remember this time, because it's not going to always be like this.
Yeah.
So that's my advice to anyone who's on the show is enjoy it, but realize that it's not going to stay like this forever.
Yeah. Now, do you wait your hands rubbing every time for the reunion to get that little bit of sunshine from RuPaul where she says, "Hey, Pork Chop"?
Well, the first time I went, I was never told that was going to happen.
Right.
I just was at the reunion show the first time they filmed it, and she did the "Hey, Pork Chop," and I was sitting in the audience. I was like, well, is she going to say hi to everybody else? And
right.
I kept going, and every year it's become like it's an expected thing that happens.
Yeah.
Last year I could not be there because I had done another show and was unable to be there because of contractual obligations, and it was definitely missed. They sent me an email. They were like, "You're not going to be able to be there." I was like, "No, I can't be there." They were shocked, but hopefully I'll be there this year, and she'll say, "Hey, Pork Chop." Again.
I hope she will. Hope she doesn't take it back, Pork Chop.
Well, we'll see. I'm gonna go. If I don't get to Hey Pork Chop, everyone will know I'm there, and I'll say, "Hey, everybody."
I think it's pretty much for sure. Don't you, Lady Red? After Alaska put it in the rap, it's just beyond iconic at this point.
I mean, you are our first big girl, so yes, girl. Represent.
Oh, thank you, Lady. That means so much coming from another big girl who should be on the show, by the way. Get Lady Red on the Drag Race.
Yes, right. But now, before we get into all Drag Race stuff, now you were recently just on another show. You were on Botched.
Yes, I was.
And now you've always looked beautiful to me. Now, what was it that you were getting done on Botched?
Well, I like many girls who have done drag for a long time, and I'm not transgender. I don't live as a woman. I do consider myself trans. I'm trans crazy, probably, because I look like a lesbian out of drag, but I'm just kind of one of those people who are going through their life and do drag, so I look like I'm out of drag all the time.
Right.
But I had silicone work back in the 90s.
Oh, back in the day.
Yes,
right,
back in the day.
That was the silicone in the basement, right?
Yes, I had silicone done in the basement, back alley. And
how old were you when that happened?
I had started having it done in 1998.
Okay.
So
it was a good decade after you had been in drag already.
Oh yeah, I started drag in 1987.
Yeah.
So I waited a long time because I never wanted to get it. I waited until I actually needed it when I started to see some age lines in my face.
So you really wanted it for a filler effect?
Yes.
Okay.
I didn't want it to make myself look more like a woman. I didn't start doing it immediately. I waited over a decade of doing drag before I ever got any. And then I started seeing little lines and seeing little things that it could fix. And I went to someone whose work I had seen over the years, who I trusted, and they did use real silicone. That's very important, as it was real silicone.
Right,
it
wasn't like the stuff from the garage.
No,
it was real silicone.
It was real silicone. I made sure of that. The person who did my actual work on my face, I had followed them for years, and I'd seen work they'd done on people who were friends of mine and other entertainers I knew, and I trusted them, and they did a good job. But the problem was they started putting silicone in my faces in place I didn't want it. Like I would go to have my cheeks done, and she'd say, "Oh, let me put a little in your nose," and I'd be like,
"Oh, honey."
Well, she put it there, and it what she was trying to do worked at the time, but a decade later, it started developing scar tissue, which is called silicone granulomas. That's what it becomes under your skin. And so in about 2013, I went to the doctor and I started going to dermatologists and having injections done, trying to get it to come down, to bring the swelling down. And eventually my doctor sent me to a plastic surgeon and they said, this is going to continue to get bigger, we need to remove it. So I had silicone, I think 11 silicone granulomas removed on my forehead and my nose.
Wow, honey.
Which was 2 separate surgeries.
And how did that feel when they were under there? Was that like something where you felt like you needed to get it out, or it was like one of those things where it had been so long, it wasn't unless you looked at it that you were really thinking about it?
I have to say this, when you have something like that going on your face, you don't really see what's going on.
Right.
You your mind doesn't allow you to do that, and the fact that I do female impersonation, I wear heavy makeup, you don't really see anything on stage that's wrong. So for years, I could work and do my shows and nobody knew anything was wrong until I took my makeup off. And what happened with me is I had won a contest, and it was the 3rd time I won Miss North Carolina USA at large.
Wow, Eddie.
In 2013.
You are not giving them a damn minute.
I'm not afraid to enter a pageant. But she came up to me afterwards, and it was a cross-dresser in the audience, someone who was there just to view the pageant, and she pulled me to the side and she said, "You have got terrible silicone in your face." And I didn't know her from Adam. And I knew it, but I didn't know that some other people could see it.
Right.
And they could. And so that immediately made me realize I need to get whatever's going on in my face fixed, because it's not going to get better on its own.
Yeah, definitely.
And so I immediately started the process of having treatments done. I ended up at the plastic surgeon. I had it all removed. And anyway, that's what brought me to Botched.
Right.
Is I had my surgeries done here in California to have the silicone granulomas removed, and my doctor had scheduled revision surgery. He wanted to go back and do it again. Well, in the meantime, I applied to be on Botched. I just sent in an application, and I sent it in on Sunday, and they called me on Monday.
Wow.
And that started the process, so I ended up getting cast on the show, and I guess you guys saw that. But what you didn't see on the show is it was a 6-month process.
Really?
I had my initial surgery in October, and I had skin death. I had tissue death on my nose because I'd had so many surgeries on my nose. That was my 3rd surgery. And my skin actually died. I had a huge hole in my nose, and they had to wait until it healed from the inside out before they could do any surgery at all. So I had my 2nd surgery on December the 4th, and they did like a tummy tuck on my nose where they went in and they cut all out the dead tissue out and they sewed it up again. Then they did it again on February 4th. And then by the time I did my reveal, I filmed it in March, it was almost 6 months.
Wow.
It was actually 6 months from the date of my first surgery before I was released from doctor's care. So it was a very long process. I could not leave home because if anyone knew I was on the show, they would say, "Look, the doctor's botched this patient." I literally, and I'll send you pictures if you'd like for the show. I couldn't leave, I couldn't go anywhere but the grocery store.
Wow, honey.
Because people, it wasn't anything. Imagine having a huge scab on their nose for 4 months.
Yeah, there's no covering that with makeup, right?
I couldn't do drag. I couldn't go out in public.
Oh my goodness.
Because I'm not a star, but I'm as D-list as you can get. But if any of my D-list friends would have took a photo and sent it to TMZ and said, "Look what Dr. Nassif has done," then I'd have, I wouldn't have wanted that to happen for me or for them. Because telling this after it's all completed, it doesn't sound that bad. But during it, I got very depressed. I had to go to counseling.
I can imagine.
It was during the holidays. I was sitting at home
by yourself,
by myself,
locked in the house, can't go anywhere, can't do a show.
So that was probably the most difficult thing, but it turned out well, and I hope my story has helped somebody. But I still see these queens on Facebook go, "Oh, I just had my breasts done. My butt hurts from having injections done." I just had a friend die 2 weeks ago, Tanisha Cassadine, a former Miss Continental Plus. She went to have injections done. She got pneumonia from it and died from silicone poisoning. This is still going on. This is very prevalent in our community. The queens need to stop. You need to stop doing it.
Lady Red, I told you shouldn't get those boob jobs. I told you have enough naturally.
I mean, you know what? If it don't grow, I'm not going to worry about it. But you know what? I'm pretty ample.
Yes, you are.
I think
that's good. It's an important thing to get out there.
Yes.
Because I've known a lot of queens who've gotten a lot of things, and the thing is, it might look good for a couple of years, 5 years, 10 years, but then your body shifts, it shifts. There's a lot of fucked up shit.
Everyone is going to age. That I can promise you.
Well, Porkchop, you are aged, but looking more beautiful than ever.
Oh, well, thank you very much.
Still serving just as gorgeously as you always have. The thing is, you know, it's been 9 years, whatever, since the first Drag Race, but I love that you're still slaying in pageants, because that was where you really came from. Before Drag Race was you are a pageant queen.
Oh, yes. I have been very lucky because I've been able to experience every segment of being a well-known female impersonator.
Yeah.
I've won over 100 regional, state, and national contests. I was Miss Continental Plus in 2003. I've been Miss International Plus. I was in a documentary called Pageant.
Right. Well, I mean, that was kind of where people got to know you before Drag Race.
That's what got me on the show.
Yeah,
to be
exactly.
Quite honest, was the documentary Pageant.
And now, was Alyssa Edwards in that
Alyssa
too?
Edwards was in that as well. I think she was the only other contestant from the show who was in that movie. That
Right,
year. But
yeah.
she was third runner-up. I was second runner-up. I beat Alyssa.
Yes, you did, honey. Yeah.
So it was a great experience, and it kind of led into Drag Race, and they, I think, wanted to not continue, but they saw what could happen from what they saw in the movie. I think that inspired Drag Race to a certain degree.
Yeah, I mean, it's so interesting to look back at Pageant, because I watched it again last night,
Oh,
and I was
thank you.
just like, God, the eras are so different in terms of like the people in the movie were having to like try to prove to the world that they weren't psychopaths or deviants, and now, you know what I mean? Like, and that just was a normal. It seemed like that was a normal thing to have to deal with at that time. Am I right about that?
No, you're perfectly right. And that's part of the reason that the movie was made, was to demonstrate that female impersonation and people who did drag were just like you and I, just like your mom and dad. We just do this for a living. And some people take it to the extreme and they continue with it. Some people do it for a very short amount of time.
Sure, yeah. As we see in the movie, you have Miss 1987's coming out in a suit.
And out of drag.
Or then you have Hot Chocolate still coming out looking the same as she
great
does
example
now.
is Victoria DePaula, who was a subject in the movie. She went on to win Miss Gay America, and a couple of years after she won and gave up the title, she quit doing drag. She now owns a hair salon in Kansas City, and she comes back and does special appearances, but she accomplished what her goal was in female impersonation.
Sure.
And she moved on. I've accomplished so much and I've done so much now, I kind of feel like I'm an idol for everybody else who's younger, and I want to share my experiences, good and bad, because I've had many. And I think it's good to see that you can continue your career as a female impersonator. You might not remain the star of the show, but you're always going to be able to give something, and that's who I am now. As I know I'm not going to turn the show out. I'm not going to do backflips and back rolls in the show
Right,
anymore.
that's a different thing.
But I can give something that nobody else can give. I've got 30 years of experience in this industry, so I know that I am still a valuable subject.
For sure. I mean, this many shows and this many wins, Porkchop. I mean, come on. You don't win pageants like that for not slaying the game, honey.
No, you don't. I'm bringing us to that. That brings me to All Stars 3. I'd love to get back on that.
Now, I thought you were going to be on 2. I honestly heard rumors. I assumed you were going to be on, and so you thought so too. You were waiting by the phone.
I was waiting by the phone for months. I think I started the All Stars 2 hashtag because as soon as I heard RuPaul mention there could be an All Stars 2, I thought, I'm going to get on this. Well, I promoted myself for over a year. I hadn't got a phone call yet, so I'm telling you now I want to do All Stars 3.
I sure hope so.
I'm the competitive one in the group from season 1, and I want to be on it. Let's hope they give me an opportunity.
I really do hope that's the case.
And if I don't go home first, I'll have won. So.
Yes, that is correct, Porkchop.
Anything besides going home first when I'm the winner.
Porkchop, we love you so much. It's so great to chat with you. Now, I do want to talk to you one more thing, just about how you made it through the initial thing to be the first person off. And I know that because you lost your job to come to Drag Race when you were working in a cast and you're the MC, and then you lost a job, then you had to go, and no one knew about the show. It's not like being First Now, where you know, people still can make lots of things. You know that you can make a career. But you had to go back home and sort of face negative feelings from people. How did you get through that? And what kind of advice can you give to the girls
What happened
that are
at
gonna
that
deal
period
with
of time, back in 2008 when the show was initially cast and filmed, no one had heard of the show. When I went to my boss, I worked at a nightclub in Raleigh called Legends at the time, and I said, I've been cast on this show, I need to take this amount of time off. He didn't want me to do the show, he didn't want me to take the time off, but he gave it to me. Well, I got eliminated first, and I returned home soon after I had left, and when I went back, he told me that it was the worst mistake I'd ever made. I'd ruined my career.
Yeah.
That he was very mad at me, and he fired me soon after.
Yeah.
Like within the next few, probably 2 months, he fired me because of it. Before the show ever premiered, before anything happened with it, and I think it was because they didn't know what it was going to be. They didn't. I remember when the first episode aired, I went on, there used to be a website called Carrie Fairfield.
Okay.
Where everybody went and they gossiped about drag. People went on there and they were like, oh, well, that's the end of that. I'll never watch that again. Everyone dismissed it immediately. Not knowing that the people who were going to be watching it were straight people, were youth. It did something for our community that no one our age could do. We brought in people who could not get into the club, who had never been to a show. We brought all those people in, and that's who the show became huge for, was the people who knew nothing about drag, and all the experts and all the people who had known about female impersonation their whole lives. They were kind of dismissed because they found fans we didn't even know existed.
Yeah.
So it was very hard. I lost my job, I lost my friends, I lost my home, because I had a town home where my rent was very expensive because I worked at a club 3 nights a week.
Right, exactly.
And it changed my life. And then when the show came out, it didn't help a lot. I still get season 1 booking fee, which wasn't a lot at the time. So we did not get a lot of benefit from the show like they do now.
Right.
And I can't be mad about it because I'm sitting here with you now.
Yes.
And if I had not been cast on the show, I would not be sitting here. So I'm a very blessed person, and I've milked my 1 appearance on season 1 for everything it's worth. I think everybody will agree to that.
Yes, you have, honey.
But I think because of what happened with the show and what happened to me there, like everything else in my life, anything that happens bad to me, it gives me drive to want to prove everybody wrong. Okay, I was fired. Okay, you were right. I was sent home first, but you're still in Raleigh. You're still working at Legends. I now live in LA, and I'm on Hey Qween. So
yes,
who's the winner?
You are. Yes. All right, before we go, I want to give you some quick fire questions. Top 3 favorite drag queens.
Top 3 favorite drag queens. Oh my gosh, RuPaul.
Okay.
First of all, because it's not only because of the show, because before the show was on, she made a statement to the world that no one had ever seen before.
That's right.
With Supermodel. When Supermodel came out, everyone knew who RuPaul was. It opened female impersonation to everyone. My second favorite drag queen, and because I think she changed the face of female impersonation for all of us on the show, would be Sharon Needles.
Okay.
Sharon Needles opened up an avenue to people that we didn't know existed. She brought in a whole group of people who were out there who everyone considered people who, it wasn't mainstream drag. Any type of drag was fine. She considered herself a scary freak. Well, all the scary freaks came out of the woodwork for her, along with thousands of other people.
Yes,
who
they
loved
did.
her. She's very important to the show. I think she gave the show an uplift that we didn't have before when she won. And my first favorite drag queen would be my drag mother, Carmela Marcela Garcia.
Right, exactly.
She was the very first Miss USA at large. She discovered me when I was a little kid. As she says, she had to suck lots of dick in her life to have me grow up because I ate a lot. But she discovered me at one of my first state pageants in 1989 and took me under her wing, and she polished me up, and I went to my first national and was second runner-up. Had never won a talent show or a pageant. So Carmela Marcela Garcia is my favorite drag queen.
All right, I love that. Yes. Okay, a couple little other quick ones. Smelliest drag queen you've ever met?
The breathtaking Donna Day, who was a queen from Texas, who I used to compete with. And literally, before I met her, they were like, wait till you meet Donna Day. She's breathtaking. And I was like, what do you mean she's breathtaking? She'll take your breath.
Wow.
And it turned out to be true. Donna Day was a fabulous entertainer, a great legend, but that bitch stank.
Yes, honey. Have you ever had a kai-kai?
Oh, Kai. Not that I'm aware of, no.
Okay, you would know, you would know.
I may have been fooled in my lifetime, but not with anyone that I can say.
Slept with someone in drag while you were in drag?
Yes, I have done that.
Okay.
Oh, I've left my lipstick on quite a few gentlemen throughout the country.
Yes, you have, mother. Favorite place to perform?
My favorite place to perform, and I just performed there again, is Southern Nights in Orlando, Florida.
Ooh,
I
yeah.
love Southern. I've been to Orlando many times in my life. I've worked there throughout the decades, and Southern is a wonderful place to perform.
Okay, and last one. Last time you kikied with RuPaul?
Last time I kikied with RuPaul was when I did a taping with Theron at World of Wonder.
Oh, okay.
She came in for something. It was about 6 months ago. I said hi to her.
And she said, "Hey, Pork
She
Chop."
said, "Hey, Pork Chop." I said, "Hi, Ru. How are you?" And she was gone in her orange Volvo.
Of course. Last but not least, what are your words of wisdom for young queens starting off? Because you've been through so much ups and downs. You've really, your talent perseveres through all of that. What's your words of wisdom?
My words of wisdom would be, we have the internet now. We have so many people that can help you. When you're young, you really don't know where to go. Like me, and this happens to so many people still, I was thrown out because I was gay when I was 17. When I was thrown out, there wasn't any internet, there wasn't anybody who could help me. If you're in that position today, if you're 17, 27, 47, get on the internet. There's organizations here to help gays, help transgendered people. In California, in every state and every major city, there's organizations who can help people. So my advice to young people is don't give up on yourself. Reach out to people. They're here to help you. There's organizations, there's 800 numbers, anything you need. Get online and you Google for whatever you need. You can find a number or somebody to help you. So don't feel like you're alone. Reach out to someone and get the help you need.
Well said, Pork Chop. Pork Chop, I could talk to you for hours, honey.
Well, thank you
I
very
could get
much.
into deep. We're gonna have you back again for more deep stories because I want to know every story. We'll get into a little more on Look It Up because Pork Chop is not going anywhere. After this, you're gonna see her on Look It Up. But in the meantime, Miss Pork Chop, I know you have a lot of trophies and you've won a lot of titles. But honey, you've also snatched a Hey Qween trophy.
Thank you.
And you've won yourself a lap dance.
Oh my God.
They don't give you that in Southern Nights, honey.
No, they don't. Oh my
Now,
God.
give it to do it good.
I can
Give
leave a
it to
little
her
lipstick
good.
on him.
Sketch is a contact one. Get on the lap. Get over there. Give it to her good. Don't be shy, Sketch. Come on. Yes. Now give her the back. Flip it around and give it to her good. She got first eliminated on Drag Race 1. Yes, yeah, that's it. I think she's feeling better. All right, get out of here, kid. Lady Red, take us out with some Black Lady Screaming.
Hey Queen, hey Queen, hey Queen, the fuck up on.
Yeah! All right, like I said, Pork Chop is going to be standing by to look at all of the girls. So make sure you tune to that. Pork Chop, thank you so much,
Thank you,
darling.
baby, for being
I
having me
love
on.
you.
I love
Thank
you
you,
too.
Lady Red, and we'll see you next time on Hey Qween. Bye, baby. Bye. Bye, camera. Fly away, camera.
I'm like, oh, a trophy.